Hey y'all, this is your favorite validation-seeking YouTuber, Pesky, speaking. And I'm just gonna let y'all know that this video contains spoilers for Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous. So, if you care about watching it spoiler-free, go watch it now, then come back to this video. Seriously, please come back, I need the ad revenue. And while you're at it, please like and subscribe, and hit the bell to get spammed with meaningless bullshit produced by yours truly. So, Camp Cretaceous came out on Netflix the other day, and honestly, it's about damn time. It's been, a year since the first trailer came out? But, I mean, that's besides the point. Camp Cretaceous is finally here, and obviously I had to give it a watch. And as it stands currently, there's 8 episodes total. I honestly blasted through them super quickly, as I'm sure most of you will, or already have. Yet I have to admit, despite how curious I was to see what the show had in store, since we really haven't gotten any Jurassic Park spin-off series ever, my hopes were not high for this, at all. I was actually disgusted when they revealed the character designs, as I'm sure at least some of you saw in one of my community posts from a couple months back. The designs of the kids clashing with the realistic dinosaurs, it was just off looking. It looked like it was doomed to be some generic shitty kids show, and the following trailers really didn't help with that. I mean, if anything, it made me want to pretend that the show didn't exist at all. But alas, I just decided to, bite the bullet and watch anyway. I mean, let's be honest, there was no way I wasn't gonna watch it, but whatever, just go with it. And of course, as I expected, because I'm always right, this show was absolute bottom tier shit. Yeah, no, I'm actually messing with y'all. Believe it or not, I'm delighted to say that Camp Cretaceous far exceeded my expectations. And I'm sure you guys are delighted that I'm actually being positive about dinosaur-related media for once. And honestly, me too, man. Me too. Don't get me wrong, there are some things I don't really like about the series, but in direct contrast with Fallen Kingdom, the good things far outweigh the bad in this case. Some of the characters are really annoying at first, and some of them never stop being annoying. But each of the teens kind of have their own story to tell, and they have internal struggles and character arcs, which is something that I honestly didn't expect. And I mean, if you know anything about me, I'm a sucker for character development, so I guess that made me enjoy the show even more. Oh, and another thing I absolutely loved was the fact that the show did not underestimate its audience, and I personally despise when shows and movies assume their audience is stupid and immature, and then they dumb down the themes of the movie or show or whatever it is. There were actually some heartfelt and mature moments in the show that I didn't think Camp Cretaceous would actually have the balls to, put in and show. But anyway, that's just my general consensus. I enjoyed it. What I want to do now is I just want to go into a little more in-depth review of each episode, kind of give a summary of what it was about, and explain what I did like, what I didn't like, because I don't know, the main reason I'm making this video is because it's my expectations were far exceeded. If I didn't enjoy Camp Cretaceous, I wouldn't be making this video right now. So, yeah, anyway, let's get into this. I'm gonna stop blabbering, and, let's start with episode 1. Okay, so admittedly, the first episode is kinda slow. It's okay. It's not amazing. It's not great, in my opinion. So basically it starts off with Darius, the main kid. He's playing a video game, and it's a Jurassic Park VR game. The whole scene's pretty neat. It shows a map of Isla Sorna at the very beginning, but then they say it's Isla Nublar or something, so that really got under my skin. That was annoying. But yeah, Darius is playing the video game, he loses, and he's like, "Wah, and I lost the video game," and then his brother comes in, they're talking, and it's Darius's dad is apparently dead, so that's always neat. And basically it just gives exposition about how Darius and his dad always wanted to go to Jurassic World, and Darius is just trying to beat the video game. It's actually kind of cool. The way he actually ends up beating the video game is that the T-Rex is attacking him, and then there's a bunch of bones, and he finds the raptor resonating chamber from Jurassic Park 3 in the pile of bones, and he uses it to call a bunch of raptors to attack the T-Rex in the video game. So that was a really nice nod to Jurassic Park 3. I was such a fan of that. Is it cheap fan service? Yes. Did I like it? Yes. So yeah, Darius beats the video game, and wouldn't you know it, he's the first person in the entire world to beat the video game, because apparently it was so hard to do. I mean, surely someone else would have beaten it before him, right? I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter. Basically, he's the first one in the world to beat the game, and he wins a trip to Jurassic World, specifically the whole Camp Cretaceous thing that they have going on. So yeah, Darius arrives at the dock, and there's 4 other kids there. We've got Belle Delphine, we've got Sandy Cheeks, Track Girl, and we've got Little Bitch. And then we have the 2 camp counselors that apparently everyone on Twitter was simping for the girl counselor, Roxy. And it's like, god damn you, Twitter. I hate Twitter. But, I mean, you know, I do hate Twitter, but you should follow me there anyway, at the one true Pesky. And eventually they're like, okay, we've got all 6 kids here, except there's only 5 kids. And then the other kid, Kenji, shows up. We'll just call him Chad. Then they all jump in the truck and they start driving off to the campsite. And basically we get some more insight onto, like, who all these characters are. Basically, Darius is the dino nerd. Chad is the Chad, like the gloaty one, the severely overconfident one. Track Girl is extremely awkward. Sandy Cheeks is really, really, really annoying. Little Bitch is a little bitch. And Belle Delphine is internet famous and talks about liking and subscribing, which I personally can relate to, so that automatically made her my favorite character. Liking and subscribing is also something you all should do. Just saying. So yeah, they're driving to camp, the kids have a bunch of banter, Ben throws up like 500 times. Did I just call him Ben? Sorry, I meant Little Bitch. On the way there, they almost kill a compy by running it over something, I don't know, and they see the compy and they're like, oh wow, that's a dinosaur. And then after that, they go ziplining and they see all the nice dinosaurs because, let's be honest, you never see the carnivores first in these movies. Technically, they did see a compy first, so that is a carnivore, but like, you know, the big scary ones that are gonna kill you. So yeah, then Darius decides to be a little shit and sneak out at night, you know, while everyone's asleep. And then Chad's like, I know what you're doing, kid. And then Darius is like, no you don't. You don't know what I'm doing. And then Belle Delphine comes out and she's like, yo, let's go sneak out and take a video for the YouTube channel. And they're all like, cool. So then they go do that. So yeah, they sneak out, they go to the raptor pen, which for some reason they think is the compy pen. Don't ask why. Chad decides to be an idiot and he takes Belle Delphine's phone and drops it into the raptor pen, thinks it's a smart idea to go into the raptor pen and get the phone. Yeah. Naturally, he's screwed in there. So Darius is like, okay, I better go in there too. And then he goes in, and the raptors are all like, hey yo, we're here for fan service. And dramatic tensioning. And yeah, that's how the episode ends. So, next one. So, episode 2 picks up pretty much right where episode 1 left off. Darius and Chad are stuck in the raptor cage, and the raptors, they know they're the villains, so they're just slowly walking towards them. Ooh, what's gonna happen? At this point, Chad and Darius are pretty much doomed to die while Belle Delphine watches them get ripped to shreds, but then, suddenly, all the lights go on in the raptor paddock. And it turns out the camp counselors found the kids, thankfully. Roxy comes and she throws a bunch of meat into the raptor pen, and 3 of the raptors turn around, but of course Blue is the one who's like, yeah, nah, homie, I'm ignoring that. I still want to kill these kids. So then the other camp counselor, Dave, he opens the gate, grabs the kids, pulls them out in the nick of time, of course, because, like, this is the Jurassic franchise, we can't kill off children. So Kenji and Darius get out alive, and believe it or not, they actually were able to get Belle Delphine's phone, so that was neat. But naturally, the camp counselors aren't too happy. So yeah, basically, they're put on shit shoveling duty the next day. So Darius and Chad begin shoveling the dinosaur poop, and everyone else goes off to the lab, and Dr. Wu is there, and for some reason, now this isn't just a problem with Camp Cretaceous, this is just a problem with, like, the entire Jurassic World franchise, in my opinion. They turned him into a James Bond villain. It's so stupid. Like, in the original movie, he was just a guy who was a scientist. Like, he played a slightly bigger role in the book, but, like, I don't know. There's this whole evil attitude with, like, we're just used to being the cat. Like, it's dumb, but okay. As all the kids are looking around in the lab, Belle Delphine's recording for the views, and Dr. Wu comes up to her and is like, yeah, no recording in my lab, you stupid pink-haired thought. So naturally, Belle Delphine's not having any of Dr. Wu's bullshit. So she strokes his ego a bit, makes him feel bad about himself for being overshadowed by John Hammond and Masrani in an admittedly savage fashion. And then Dr. Wu's like, shit bro, you right. And then he asks how many followers she has, and basically, he lets her record. So at this point in the story, I feel that Belle Delphine has more than proved herself as a character because of how savage she was in this scene. So she's earned the right to be called her actual name now, so we're going to be referring to her as Brooklyn from now on. Anyway, we cut back to Darius and Chad, and Darius is naturally pissed that he can't go to the lab, and instead he's shoveling dinosaur crap. And he's like, "Well, this is all your fault, Chad." And Chad's like, "No, it's not. Your dinosaur dreams are stupid." So eventually, through all this banter, Chad is able to convince Darius to abandon the poop duty and go into these underground tunnels that connect the whole park to see an attraction that is, quote, closed to the public. So cut back to the lab, they're looking at the eggs, Bumpy hatches from the eggs, and oh my god, let me tell you guys, Bumpy, he is... I don't even know. He's just great. I mean, you look at his face. You can't say that's not great. So yeah, little bitch is all disgusted, but then he falls in love with Bumpy, or something, I don't know. And Dr. Wu complains like, "Oh my god, Bumpy's asymmetrical, oh no!" Ah. So then we cut back to the sewers, and Chad tells Darius that they're going to see a Carnotaurus, and Darius proceeds to go Pesky mode and geek out about the Carnotaurus. Cut back to the lab again, and now Brooklyn's sneaking through Dr. Wu's private lab, and she finds the Indominus Rex plans, and Dr. Wu finds her, and he's like, "Get the hell out." So we yet again cut back to Darius and Chad, and, you know, Chad was bragging about how he knows the park like, quote, the back of his hand, and, turns out they came out of the tunnel inside the Carnotaurus paddock, and, you know, the Carnotaurus is there, and they're probably gonna die. Okay, but let me just say, the Carnos model, it's so good. It looks like they basically took the one from Fallen Kingdom, the Fallen Kingdom Carno model, and they just put it in the show, and it just looks really good. So yeah, the Carnotaurus is there, they're like, oh crap. So another cut back to the lab, Dr. Wu drags Brooklyn out of his office and kicks the campers out, and then Bumpy screams and cries as they leave because he likes them, I guess. Maybe he imprinted on Ben. I don't know. Damn it, I called them Ben again. Okay, I'm just gonna call them by their actual names because at this point it's getting too hard to keep track of like Little Bitch and Track Girl or whatever. It's fine. So yeah, Bumpy's all sad and it actually breaks my heart. So like, hashtag free Bumpy, please. Meanwhile, Darius and Kenji are running for their damn lives from the Carnotaurus, and I appreciate this part so much. So as they're running, obviously they can't outrun a freaking Carno. Like, that's not something you're gonna do. So Darius points out that Carnos are horrible when they turn. So they start zigzagging through the forest, and the Carno obviously is slowed down by that. I love that touch so much. It's like, it's just the little things like that where the writers do research, and it just makes the scene so much better. That made my day, so I really enjoyed this episode as a whole. So yeah, they're continuing to run from the Carnotaurus. They get out of the paddock because they found a little, like, hole in the... I don't know if you call it a hole or, like, a feeder or something. So yeah, Kenji climbs through the feeder. Darius also does, but he gets stuck. Kenji runs off. Darius thinks he left him to die. The Carnotaurus is, like, right behind him. Then Kenji comes back with a stick, opens the feeder, and Darius gets out at the last second. And that's how the Carnotaurus gets his scar, because he bangs into the metal. He has a scar now, so that's neat. And then Kenji decides to start calling him Toro, and then they're like, yeah, let's call him Toro, because, you know, we need to market this Carnotaurus somehow. So Darius and Kenji get back to where they were supposed to be, just in the nick of time, as everyone else arrives back from the lab. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of the episode. Oh, but I almost forgot. There's a scene at the end where there's, like, a drone, and it lands in the forest at night. And there's like a mysterious figure behind it. Nothing really happens with that in the show. I feel like it's a setup for season 2, to be honest. Overall, it was a pretty fun episode. I really enjoyed it. I especially love that touch with the Carnotaurus, how it can't turn. So, also we got Bumpy. So that was nice. And the characters are all becoming slightly more tolerable in this episode, so that was a good thing. Now, episode 3 kind of focuses a little bit more on character development. I shouldn't say character development, I should just say character struggles. internal struggles with the characters. Yeah, so it's a fun episode in that regard. So basically the entire plot synopsis is the campers are going to kind of herd dinosaurs on the island in gyrospheres, which is pretty cool. So the whole thing starts out with the campers sitting around a campfire while Darius is telling a story, and everyone's, listening in, and Brooklyn interrupts with her haha funny phone. Get it? Brooklyn interrupts the story. Sammy, the Texas girl, looks back and notices that Yasmina, the track girl, is, not in the group. She's just chilling with her, notebook thing. Then it starts to rain. They all head back inside. Darius is pissed because his story was interrupted. And Sammy starts harassing Yaz over being alone. Like, Sammy is one of those characters that never stops being annoying and will just kill your brain cells whenever they're on screen. She's one of those characters, you know what I'm saying? Like, at least Ben, with how annoying and bitchy he is, he has room for character development. Sammy's one of those characters that's just... there is no good. So yeah, Sammy's harassing Yaz about becoming friends. I felt so bad for Yaz in this scene. It's like, just leave her the hell alone. So the next day rolls around. They're all out in the gyrosphere fields. Basically what they have to do is they're going to ride alongside the professional dinosaur herder people in the gyrospheres and kind of help herd the dinosaurs. So everyone pairs up. Darius goes with Brooklyn, Kenji goes with Ben, and Sammy goes with Yaz. And from a writing perspective, this is actually a pretty good pair up, just because, Ben and Kenji are foils, Sammy and Yaz are foils, Darius and Brooklyn are, I wouldn't say foils, but they're still kind of at odds with each other, because Brooklyn thinks Darius is lame or something, and Darius is pissed about the story thing from the beginning, but whatever. There's actually one part in this scene that made me genuinely laugh. Since Kenji and Ben are paired up, Ben was assigned as the driver of the gyrosphere, and he's like spinning the gyrosphere in circles, right? And Kenji's just looking at the camp counselors with this amazing condescending look as the gyrosphere just spins in circles. It was pretty funny, I have to admit. So as you can tell, Ben is driving Kenji insane, similar to how Sammy is driving Yaz insane. Meanwhile, Brooklyn's looking at her channel, and apparently everyone hates her. She has like 12,000 likes and 35,000 dislikes, so it's like, you might be doing something wrong there, I don't know. So yeah, she kind of snaps at Darius, and then she apologizes because she's having, quote, one of those days, and she goes on about how she wants people to like her, and that's basically what her life revolves around. And it's like, damn bro, I feel that. And again, I'm gonna go back to that. That's one of the things that I liked about the show. It didn't shy away from character development. Yaz has social issues. Darius has to cope with his dad's death. Kenji's dad isn't around too much. Ben's afraid of everything, and Brooklyn wants people to like her. These are all pretty common themes and struggles that people have in day-to-day life, and it makes the characters a lot more relatable. So in that regard, applause, bravo. Sammy does have struggles too, but they're not revealed yet at this point in the story, and by the time they are revealed, you just hate her so much that you don't care or feel bad. I'm not gonna lie. Back to the main story at hand. A storm starts up, it scares the Sinoceratops, all the kids decide, okay, let's go herd it back to the group. As they're trying to track down the Sinoceratops, the rest of the herd goes crazy, they all get flung into the forest, gyrospheres crashing and skidding and burning. Long story short, Darius and Brooklyn get stuck in mud. That's a problem. Everyone else comes to the rescue. The Sinoceratops is there. What they do is they tie like a rope to the Sinoceratops, and then they also tie it to the gyrosphere and they pull it out of the mud. So Darius and Brooklyn are fine. Sammy ends up calming down the Sinoceratops. Everyone's happy. They go back to camp, and Yaz eventually opens up to Sammy and shows her what's in her notebook, and Yaz was drawing dinosaurs that are actually pretty impressive drawings, so better than I could do, that's for sure. Brooklyn and Darius also become buds, they make up after their whole little argument thing, plus, they were stranded in a freaking gyrosphere about to die in mud together, so I don't know, most people seem to take a liking to each other after they're in a life or death situation, so maybe that explains it. Brooklyn goes to edit the video that she recorded. She notices in the footage that when Sammy was feeding the Sinoceratops the leaves to calm it down, she injects something into the upper roof of the Sino's mouth, and naturally Brooklyn's suspicious about that. Sammy ends up in the back of the room watching her discover this, and the episode ends there. So yeah, pretty enjoyable episode. There are some eye-rolling moments in the dialogue, but overall, again, solid, enjoyable, fun. I'm just in love with the fact that there's actual character struggle and development, because the Jurassic World franchise has not had that really, like, at all. Fallen Kingdom especially. Like, the characters in that were horribly written, and it was just overall bad. So I'm glad to see a return to, like, actual good storytelling. So, if you thought episode 3 was heavy with character struggles, then, oh boy, you're not ready for this episode. So, the episode opens with a flashback of Darius talking with his dad about Jurassic World. And, you know, it's all fine and cool. They're talking about how it's going to be so great when they go there. And there's a little foreshadowing that there's something wrong with Darius's dad. Like, his dad looks at his hand and he feels like pain in it, right? And Darius is kind of like, "What's wrong, Dad?" And he's like, "Nothing, I'm fine." You know, classic parent deflection when something's wrong, but they don't want to scare their kids. So yeah, Darius is just wishing his dad was actually there to see that he actually made it to Jurassic World, because that was like their whole lifelong goal together. Meanwhile, the camp counselors are like, "There's been 2 crazy incidents in 2 days. We need more staff. We need help. Let's go see Claire Deering." So they're off to see Claire. So they leave the kids alone for what is supposed to be 2 hours. So the teens are all bored as hell inside, and while they're inside, just having, you know, their banter as usual, they hear the Indominus Rex roar from outside somewhere. No one knows what it is, and they're all like, "Let's be stupid kids and go outside on Dinosaur Island, because that's always a smart idea." Although, then again, I guess in their defense, nothing should really be going wrong in the park. So out of sheer curiosity, all the kids head outside except for Ben, because, you know, he's a little bitch. He stays inside for about 30 seconds, and then the stupid T-Rex skeleton scares him, and he decides to join them. So they all climb the zipline tower to get a vantage point, and they hear something in the jungle, and it is not the Indominus Rex, it's just a Brachiosaurus. And then they hear some guards screaming down below, "Hey, kids, get down from there." And they're like, "Ah, crap, we're in trouble." But it's like, no, the guards are actually trying to save them, because there's something else. So then the Brachiosaurus, they just see it collapse from the trees, and they're all like, "Ah, crap, something, they just killed the Brachiosaurus." And the Indominus pops out of the trees, and he's kind of like, "Hey guys, I'm here to ruin your day now." And then they actually killed those 2 park employees on screen. Like, they cut away from, like, the death, but, like, they're not shying away from it. They're dead. This show does not hold back. Like, it looks like a kid's show. It technically is for kids, but adults can enjoy it too. Like, it knows what its audience is. Like, I was honestly not expecting there to be, like, any sort of people dying whatsoever, and episode 4 proved me wrong, not gonna lie. So, yes, they were just randoms. They weren't any meaningful characters, but nonetheless, they still had on-screen deaths, which I'm impressed with. They didn't sugarcoat anything for the kids. So the Indominus Rex starts tearing down the zipline tower. They're all like, "Okay, we gotta go." So they zipline off as the tower is being torn apart. When they're about halfway down the zipline, the Indominus Rex tears down the rest of the tower, and they all land in the jungle, blackout. And while he's unconscious, Darius has another flashback to when his dad died, and it's heavily implied that his dad had cancer, which is really upsetting. And it's like, because, you know, cancer's a thing that affects a lot of people and their family members, and it's like, I'm just really amazed at how much maturity went into this show that looks like it should be for kids. And it really just exceeded my expectations, because there's actual emotional weight to the story. I know I keep saying it, but it's true. So yeah, it's just like a heartfelt flashback to Darius and his dad in their last moments together. So yeah, all the kids wake up in the jungle. They realize that, holy crap, we actually lived. And thankfully, the Indominus isn't around. So they head back to the campsite and figure out that the Indominus destroyed the entire campsite. Like, the actual, like, building for the camp, it's, like, up in a tree. The Indominus, like, ripped it down. Legit, just destroyed the entire thing. So, I mean, Ben's probably glad he didn't stay there, because he would have been frickin' dead. So the group realizes that they're pretty much on their own in the jungle at this point, and their only hope is to just find someone, anyone who could help them survive. And yeah, they set off to do just that, just survive. And the episode ends with the Indominus Rex coming across Toro the Carnotaurus's paddock, and the Indominus pretty much just rips down the cage and lets Toro free. So the episode ends right there. Also, one thing I completely forgot to mention, Brooklyn's phone was stolen from her, and that's like a whole thing throughout the episode, so Brooklyn's pissed, and Brooklyn knows who stole it. She's 90% sure that Sammy was the one who stole it, because, you know, there was the footage of Sammy doing something sketchy with the Sinoceratops. Brooklyn's being a bitch basically the whole episode to Sammy, and since Yaz and Sammy are friends now, Yaz is all on Brooklyn's case, because Yaz is like, stop accusing my friend, and, you know, obviously, we all know that Sammy took it. It shows her shoving the phone back in her pocket several times. So it's just a matter of waiting until Yaz finds out that Sammy's a stupid bitch. So this video's already longer than I thought it was gonna be. So I've decided, for views purposes, that I'm going to split it into 2 parts. I'm gonna cover the first 4 episodes in this video, and then the next video I'm gonna do the last 4 episodes. So yeah, stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed, leave a like, and until the next one, I will see y'all later.